So, hey everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome you all in this event, Super Saga of Astronomy with Akshat Mohite. So, welcome Akshat to this platform, and we are glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here with you all.
Thank you. So, before starting, I would like to tell you all like who Akshat Mohite exactly is, and you might be knowing. We have already told you about that, but let's start with the introduction. So, Akshat Mohite is currently an astronaut trainee with IIAS, and he is also a scientist astronaut candidate trainee with the project PoSSUM. So, if I like, I'm describing it
Yes,
perfectly,
yes.
and this project is being funded by NASA, and that's the most amazing part of this. So but yeah, this is not the end, and I would like Akshat to describe him because there are certain things that I might miss. So Akshat, would you like to describe yourself first?
Yeah, indeed. So, hello everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible. Purva?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Perfect. So, yeah, hello everyone. I am Akshat Mohite, Scientist Astronaut Candidate. Training for Project PoSSUM, that is Polar Suborbital Science in Upper Mesosphere. I'll just quickly share my screen itself, so that we can also have the PPT in line. I hope you guys can see my screen.
That's visible.
Yeah, so I'm the scientist astronaut candidate trainee for Project PoSSUM. I'll let you know what PoSSUM is about and how I got into it and every such thing in the other parts. Later on, I'm also the panel speaker for International Space Development Conference, then the president for National Space Society USA Mumbai. It is basically a US based space society that I have brought here in India so I could help a couple of people who are interested in space industry. So yeah, that is something about me which everyone knows. Other than that, I have started with a couple of my own startups in the aerospace industry, building some rockets or designing them. So yeah, that's all about me.
Wow, that's like an awesome introduction, and I guess that this is something that is most interesting because you have been working with an organization like NASA, and you are president of a space society at such a young age, and I just appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, okay, like we had a lot of questions, we got a lot of questions from the participants as well, but we will come to that later on. Before going to that, let's discuss something about what your experience has been. So, Akshat, like you have achieved so much at this particular age, and this is not something that is quite usual. So, would you like to tell how it all started, how you got into this?
Okay, that's okay. So basically, I would say I had a goal of becoming a scientist since a very young age. After watching a couple of movies, namely Krish, if I would say, Doctor Mehra and everything. So I was
Of
a
course.
very much into watching movies and everything. So I got inspired from those. I started working. I started taking up other subjects, exploring them. Meanwhile, I realized that research paper is something that is, the most important part when you take such industries. So that I call it as implementation of your knowledge. So I started
Yeah.
writing research papers, and one of my research paper, fortunately got selected in the International Space Development Conference. Of course, I wasn't able to go there for the conference and present the paper because of some visa issues and everything. And I didn't stop. That was the best thing I would say. I started writing more research papers on, like the mesosphere or re-entry of space vehicles and on such topics.
Okay.
One fine day, I was recommended by a couple of NASA astronauts and cosmonauts in Project PoSSUM, the Polar Suborbital Science in Upper Mesosphere. They accepted me,
Yes.
and I was called to United States of America for my further training, wherein I went ahead with my further training and became the world's second youngest scientist astronaut candidate and Asia's youngest one to have this. Later on,
Wow.
I was elected as into the management team of National Space Society. Of course, they gave me my own space society, and I became the president for the National Space Society Mumbai. So we have our headquarters in Washington, and and some other
Okay.
branches in India that we are planning to go ahead with. Going ahead with
Yes.
the same thing, I decided that let's do something more innovative. So that's the reason I went ahead with these startups and everything. So I started up a startup wherein we are into the reusable rockets, and that's what I'm doing currently. So yeah, this has been a very brief of my journey. How has it been since day one?
Wonderful, man. Like you have, like that's really awesome that you have a startup. So, what exactly is your startup all about?
My startup is about, I won't be able to put in a lot of light onto the projects, but then we are into
Yes.
innovative ways in reusable rocket industry. So it is currently an untapped
Okay.
market, I would say. But then I just
Yes.
want to bring India into the race of reusable rockets. As you know, we know US has been doing it. SpaceX is testing out SN10, SN11, SN15.
Yes.
So I thought, why are we lagging behind at the same thing? As I've been working closely with the people of ISRO on certain projects. I've been talking to Rakesh Sharma, sir, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, and
Wow.
that's what I thought of doing. So that's the reason I entered into starting up a startup itself.
Wow, that's awesome. You have talked to Rakesh Sharma. He's a legend, definitely. So, okay, Akshat, that was a wonderful introduction. Would you like to tell us like how you got into? Okay, just told that you were selected by some astronauts from PoSSUM project. So, would you like to throw some light on this project? What it is all about?
Yeah, surely. So, Project PoSSUM is basically Polar Suborbital Science in Upper Mesosphere, as I said you. So, what does that mean? It means that we deal with the noctilucent clouds which are present in the mesosphere. So, the clouds that we see right now
Yes.
are stratospheric clouds, and the clouds that we are dealing with are noctilucent clouds. So, we call it noctilucent clouds because those are opaque and we don't know what is the cause of creation of them. And as
Yes.
they're opaque, you can't study them from being below it. You need, or nor can you study it from the ISS. So you need to practically
Yes.
ascend up the mesosphere, and then you need to take some photographs. So it is called photography, and then come down and study more about it. So our mission is basically called
Yes.
Noctis and Cloud Tomography mission. So that's all that we do there.
Okay, so this is something that is not yet done, I guess, and something really new.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so Akshat, like this is all about your awesome project, and like what you have been doing as an astronaut trainee in this project. So, what are your roles and responsibilities?
So currently, as my post itself describes that I am currently an astronaut candidate and a trainee. So I am going through all my
Yes,
trainings, such as the hypoxia chamber training or the GPOS training, then aerobatic flight training, and a couple more such
yes,
trainings like FAA license, DGCA license, SAFI license. So these are all the licenses that I firstly need to acquire. And meanwhile, that's what we continue with the training and then on field work that we do.
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So, you are actually work like you are actually getting the training of an astronaut that has been like given to some really awesome people that are like quite older than you. So, like
Indeed, indeed.
yeah,
The matter of the thing is, I'm actually called to Iceland so that I can train myself with astronaut training.
yes,
He was an Apollo astronaut, so that we both
yeah.
can go to Iceland and train ourselves to, in the glaciers. So that's my next mission
Okay.
that I'm going ahead to.
Wow, wow, that's awesome. So, is it related to Mars or some other planet?
That's going to be like lunar settlement training, I would say. So
Okay.
you need to survive basically. You won't have contact with the outside world. You have to just go there. You'll have communication with the Capcom. That is,
Yeah.
we place there for any help that we require, and then we just climb up
Yes.
and we live there with a limited amount of resources, just like we would
Yes.
do on moon.
Oh, that's awesome. So you are actually living those moments that are like lived by the actual astronauts who are there in the space, right?
Yeah, that's why we call it like an analog astronaut mission. So we just try to be in the same situations that they might be
Yes.
facing, so that we can train ourselves better.
Okay. So, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I'm speechless, literally, listening to all of this, and definitely people are excited in the chat section also. So Akshat, what you have been doing with IIAS? Uh, if I'm right, it is
Again,
Indian.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that is the organization that is currently, training me as an astronaut. So all those trainings go under IIAS. That's the
yeah.
reason we have to put in IIAS over there.
Okay, so that's you can say a parent domain, maybe a parent
Maybe we can
organization.
say it as a collaboration between Project PoSSUM, NASA, and IIAS.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
great. Okay, so
There are
Akshat,
many
so
such organizations, like Space Nation
yes,
and stuff like these.
yes.
Space Nation is the Iceland mission I'm talking about.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So, from the many questions we got, one was pretty common, that how you are able to manage your time with all such positions, because time management is not about a particular field. It is about for something that is kind of, you can say, skill, which is not with everyone, and it is required in each and every field. So how do you do that?
Um, Okay, about time management, of course, it gets a little bit tricky for me because, as I already told you, I own a couple of companies. One is in pharma, one is in aerospace, and then I am into
Yes,
running this National Space Society Mumbai chapter. I'm also the astronaut trainee, scientist candidate. So what I do is I cut down my sleeping time. I sleep like 4 hours a day or so, and then I just line up
yes.
certain things because, as you know, I'm just 20 years old right now. So I also am in my second year of education. So I got to
Okay.
manage certain things. I line them up, and that's all. You can't actually manage everything perfectly. You just need to go with the flow. I just believe that.
Yes, definitely need to go with the flow. And I'm literally astonished because I'm also in the second year of my engineering. And what you are now and what I am now has like that level difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So basically, what I'll do is I have a PPT, so I'll share it, and
Yes.
there is got it's got some mentioned over there.
Yeah.
So I could answer that, and then we can again come on to the question answer section.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So okay, I don't know why this. Okay,
Okay. So,
I
yeah.
hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, it is visible.
Perfect. So this is just a brief introduction to this chapter. Then a basic question that I receive is how to get into NASA or any other space agency. So we need to have these bunch of things if you want to get into any space agency. First is going to be the citizenship. Citizenship, of course. If you want to get into NASA, you need to be an American citizen, but everything has got some gray areas or loopholes. So if you are an Indian and you want to work in NASA, then what you can do is you can get into an university that has a cooperative with NASA, and that's how you can get into NASA being an Indian citizen. So I call these gray areas or loopholes. Talking about qualification, so you must just have, to become an astronaut, of course, you must have a degree in STEM, that is any field, like science field, any master's degree, then
Yes.
researches. As I told you, I started my, journey in the space industry on basis of research papers. So I call it as implementation of data. Whatever you learn,
Okay.
whatever knowledge you have, you need to implement it. And how you implement it is through research papers. You need to write down all the things that you know and publish it so that people might know about you, and that's how you get opportunities through networking and stuff like that. Now, next point comes is creative thinking. Of course, like if you want to write a research paper, you need to have a creative thinking background. What do I mean by creative thinking? Is something like, I would say I was just going through the news channels and I understand that there was this scarcity of oxygen. What I did
Yes.
was I developed this oxygen generation, on-site oxygen generation process so that so that this problem can be solved. And lastly, critical problem solving. Project Possum, I already told you about it. Polar suborbital science in upper mesosphere. I told you what we do, that is not producing cloud communication entities and everything. So the uniform that I'm wearing right now is basically the uniform I got from Project Possum. This is my name badge, and here comes the project badge. So the project badge basically decides, the If you see this, this is the flight profile. So that's the flight profile that we follow, and then this is basically a Normix material suit, so that if we are into some emergency situation, we don't actually face any problems. Hypoxia test. Just hold on a second. I believe there's some problem.
Yes. So I guess that was a wonderful piece of information. So Akshat will be sharing again, facing some network issue right now. Well, please ask your questions in the chat box. We have one question already. Please feel free to ask, and we will take some questions from the form itself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Um, is my voice audible?
Yeah, definitely it is.
Perfect. So hypoxia. So what hypoxia is? So we were basically put inside a chamber and we dropped the
Yes.
pressure. So by dropping the
Okay.
pressure, we were trying to simulate that we are at certain altitude, so that we dropped the pressure to a certain pressure that we could simulate 25,000 feet of altitude. Then we were testing out the symptoms that we have in our body without oxygen. So the photo that you see on the left is of me wearing that oxygen mask. But when we were going through the training, we weren't wearing that oxygen mask. So what symptoms I had was like heavy chest and cold feet. Like my chest felt really heavy because of less oxygen, and my feet were going real cold. And as soon as I got two of my symptoms, I was allowed to remove the mask, and then they, brought us to normal pressure. So that's basically my certificate from Southern Aeromedical Institute. That's I don't know if
Okay.
you guys are, into answering questions or anything. So this is basically, if here you can see the Noctilucent clouds. Let me just raise a point. So these are the Noctilucent clouds. This is where we actually work. In the tomography missions, click pictures with red cams. Those are at 1,000 frames per second, and we just come
Okay.
down, study them. So the question is, why is mesosphere cooler in summer than in winters? Then come to the question again. So if you see this, this is the temperature line. And during the summer season, the mesosphere is at minus 80 degrees Celsius. So why does mesosphere become cooler in summers when it's cooler in winters? Anyone who can answer this question, I'll keep this open. Purva, I can't see the
Okay.
screen basically. So if anyone answers, just let me know. Just wait for like a minute.
Yeah. Sure. So let's see. Anyone, please let us know if you can answer that.
What's the answer?
Yeah. Just give it a try. Well, let me think also. So, what can be the possible reason? Uh, what I know is like as we go above, pressure starts decreasing. So maybe that can be a reason. Like
Not actually.
for the temperature. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's see if we have any answers. Okay, so we have one answer here. I will just share it over here. So yeah, is it related to the density of atmosphere? What do you say?
I won't say it's actually related to density of atmosphere. No.
Okay, well, a nice try, Rishabh.
Yeah, indeed. Like I would have thought the same.
Okay, so would you like to reveal the answer right now?
Oh yeah, sure. So everyone, it's a very basic answer that in summers we have this precipitation that happens through plants, right?
Yes.
So can you repeat the question, Aditya? Surely the question is, why is mesosphere cooler in summer than in winters? Let's see if he wants to answer. Anyways, I didn't reveal the answer luckily.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just
Yeah.
answer it real quick so I don't waste a lot of time over here. So due to precipitation, the plants release moisture, and when those
Okay.
moisture ascend up in air, we have this, tendency of expansion of gases. So as the gas
Yes.
starts expanding, it tends to become cool. It's just same
Yeah.
like boiling tea. When you boil tea, your water starts at a certain height, it condenses because it cools down and it condenses. So it's the same thing here. As the gas starts expanding, it gets cooler, and that's the reason in mesosphere we experience around minus 80 degrees of Celsius during summer. So, that is
Okay.
the perfect time when we actually go up and ascend in mesosphere and do the noctilucent. So, yeah.
So this is a practical application I am saying here, because we have learned that in a like textbooks that when gas goes up and up, it tends to expand and become cool. But I guess this is the perfect example of this particular situation, right?
Yeah, indeed. I would say, when I entered the space industry, I felt that I might lack knowledge and couple of things like that. But then the
Yes.
basic thing that I understood was space comprises of the basic sciences. If you know your basics that you learned, then you can actually innovate and excel into the space industry real quick.
Okay. So that lies in the fundamentals we had learned.
Exactly, exactly. So, this was one of the training that I went through. That was my G-Force training. So, what you can
Yeah.
see in the right picture, I was made to sit in an aircraft that was an extra 300L aircraft. And
Yes.
we took off at GX, that was normal gravity. Then at
Yes.
2Gs, we took 360-degree turns. So, you can imagine it.
Oh.
And then after 360-degree turns at 2Gs, we went at 3Gs. So you can just see that I reached till 4Gs, but when it was on practical implementation, I actually touched 6Gs, which was a lot for me at that moment. I would say I was 17 years old at that time when I went through this
Wow.
training. Yeah. And then we went into the microgravity phase over here, as you can
Yes.
see. Then we again went to the 4G microgravity. Then I was pulling some of the negative G. Of course, I have a video of it at the end so that you can see how a 360-degree turn looks like in an extra 300 aircraft. And then, of
Okay.
course, we landed in negative GX.
Okay.
National Space Society. Okay, talking about National Space Society, I'm the president for National Space Society, USA, Mumbai, India, and soon we are planning to open, some more branches pan India so that we can be able to reach out to maximum number of students and help them excel in their career because National Space Society is an organization which has a lot of people from NASA, a lot from JAXA, even from European Space Agency, so people like people like Jim Bridenstine and everyone, administrator of NASA, they attend such events are from National Space Society such as ISRO and everything. So we have a lot of opportunities there, and we are training students to get those opportunities and become opportunists. So that's all I would like to say
Okay.
about National Space Society actually.
Yeah.
I won't bore you a lot with my presentation because, if there's the lockdown time wherein you have these online webinars where people come and start giving presentations and end with that. So
Yeah.
rather we'll keep more of an interactive session. So I'll just go through a couple of
Yes.
photos of mine, a video, and then we'll begin with the questions directly.
Sure.
So this was me when I received my SAMI certificate from Dr. Puzo. So it was in Austin,
Okay.
sorry, it was in Melbourne that I went to the SAMI certification. So that's Dr. Puzo and me who was providing me the certificate. It was certified
Okay.
by FIP and FAA, that was, Federal Aviation Certification.
Okay.
Then this was a photo of me during my, astronaut suit donning docking training. So why this is really critical is you wear the suit and then they pressurize the suit. Now after pressurizing, it gets difficult to even move your finger by, a bit.
Yes.
So what we did is they put me inside the suit and then they pressurized it. Of course, they put me into a simulator so that they could test
Yes.
out if I was able to carry out certain functions and everything. Of course, I passed that test, so no worries.
Yes. Wow.
This was the chamber for hypoxia in
Okay.
Melbourne that I told about. So here we were made to sit inside on those chairs, and there was a screen in front of us, which was basically a kind of simulator. So we were made to fly an aircraft simulator while we were going under
Yes.
depressurization and no oxygen in the chamber. So we were sustaining on the oxygen that our body had. So my oxygen
Okay.
level dropped till 89%, but my friends went real low, like they went till 70%, wherein they had to put up oxygen, otherwise they would have ended up in hospital. So this was a basic setup of the chamber. And
Okay.
this is just a quick, fun picture of me standing outside the
Yes.
chamber. It was real fun seeing the chamber
Oh,
and how they depressurize it while we are inside it, and how they check our thing. So that's the reason I just clicked this picture. Again, a picture of me wearing the spacesuit. So yeah, this was
okay.
basically a moment wherein I was at this airfield and I was looking at this US military helicopter, and yeah, the US military people just approached me from behind and they were like, "Do you like it?" Yeah, indeed, I love that.
Yes.
So they had seen me flying in the extra 300L couple of times. So that's when they said, "Why
Yes.
don't you come and take some pictures and join us?" And yeah, stuff like that. So that's the photo of it. So this is the extra 300L that I was talking about, the aerobatic, etc.
Yes. Oh, so you are you're flying a spacecraft. Wow,
Yeah, so
taking a
this is
turn.
the extra 300L, and now I'm making this 360-degree, maneuver that we did.
Wow, giving me goosebumps, man.
Now, this was surely crazy.
You must have received a lot of training for that.
No, it was indeed scary because going at a 360-degree turn when you're 17 years old, of course, you've never seen a two-seater jet before in your life, and
Yes.
suddenly it turns out to become that you have to go under the seat, you have to do this, you have to do that. It was real crazy and fun,
Yeah.
of course. Successfully, I completed my basic training, pulling up to 6 days of force on my body, and that was
Yes.
something really great, I would say, because not everyone is able to pull that free force so suddenly. But yeah, of course, I was successfully able to do that. Any more questions you have after this webinar, one can just follow me on Instagram at Akshat. So yeah, thank you so much. I see that it's already mentioned. I just stopped sharing. Now we'll go ahead with questions.
Okay.
This is the fun part
Yeah.
because I love to keep it interactive rather than just me speaking over a presentation. It's very monotonous.
Definitely. I was really shocked at that part when you just took a 360-degree turn, because that's a maneuver like we usually see in India. Obviously, we see that during 15th August on Independence Day. We see that, or maybe
Yeah,
on Republic Day. That's it.
yeah.
So, yeah, if anyone has any question, please put that in the chat box right now. And Akshat is here to answer each and every query. But Akshat, I have also one query. Okay, so it's like you just told that if you want to be a part of, like, if you want to be a part of some organization that is related to NASA and some like similar organizations, you have to get into a university that is collaborating with such organization.
Yeah.
So, what are these universities, and do you need any special kind of course training before going into this university? Any kind of test also?
Not actually. So it's basically like if you go for your masters, you need to give your basic GRE exams, and if you go for your bachelor's, then it is SAT. Other than that, there's nothing much that you need to do. You just get into the university, you get good with the professors. If the professor
Yes.
is able to give you some project, that is related to the space industry, then he can practically put you up into NASA, and that's how it goes. And these
Okay.
universities with cooperative agreements, there are a couple of those, such as Caltech, we know, is an agreement with Jet Propulsion. Then there is this Cornell University, then Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So yeah,
Okay. So this is a kind of roadmap you will like to tell everyone to follow if they
indeed,
want to go
indeed.
there. Okay. So we have a crazy question. If you would like to answer that. So it's, have you ever been to space? And if you are willing to go into space and settle somewhere else, maybe on on Moon or maybe on Mars sometime, so what will be your plans for that? Have you ever thought about it?
Um, okay. Currently, of course, I've not been into spaces. I'm just a trainee right now. But of course, my training
Yes.
is about to, I surely say it'll end in a couple of years more. And then if I was supposed to go and settle on some planet, I would say it would be Kepler 452b, because I've always been researching over these Kepler planets, and that was one of my very first research project that I wrote. It was on Kepler 452b. So of course,
Yeah.
I'd rather go there, settle, and explore more of space.
Okay. So yeah. So it's like you are willing to go into space, and maybe sometime you will go to.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, can you tell us, like, since technology is involved in each and every part of our life, so how do you feel, like, since you are getting trained as an astronaut trainee, you showed us that place where, like, you got your training, right, in Melbourne. So, how do you feel like the technology is going to evolve, and how is it in India right now? Like, how far we are from going into space, just like SpaceX, or maybe using reusable rockets, just like them?
Okay, so talking on that thing, I would say we are not a lot far away from it, because suddenly I see increased amount of funds that have been put up into ISRO and the private aerospace sector in India, which is
Yes,
resulting in a lot more great innovations, I would say. And of course, if we are starting to innovate at such pace, then I see that
yes.
it's not so far that we can easily ascend up to space just like SpaceX or someone.
Okay. And I guess you told us that you are working on some project that is related to this, like on in your startup.
Oh yeah, indeed. That's in my startup, wherein I'm trying to put down the cost of every human space mission by innovating again. I surely can't talk about those projects, but then yeah, those will be out pretty soon.
Okay. So, well, we have another question here. Thanks for answering. So, how can I make a career in aerospace after doing BTech from IT?
Okay, BTech from IT. You can practically, get along with your masters, because currently the job profiles that any space industry is looking is for minimum of masters, because we are onto the scale of innovations. So you can have your
Yes.
masters in something more specific, such as space related IT fields, and you can apply to Indian-based startups such as Agnikul or Skyroot or Bellatrix. Otherwise, you can also go ahead with ISRO. And if you're planning to go ahead with NASA, then I would say get your masters from USA into some same related field. And okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I guess she said that she's going to do her masters in aerospace. So yeah, you can just go to Embedded Aeronautical University, as it is considered as one of the best university for aerospace, and they have this cooperative agreement with NASA Kennedy Space Center. So yeah, you can go ahead with that thing.
Wow. So this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have another question. How to join the space society to explore more?
If you are talking about the National Space Society, then you can surely mail us at info@nssmumbai.com.
Okay. So, like, is there any process for that?
Not actually a process. You just mail, and right now our site is down because of some
Yeah.
issues. So if you mail them, the PR person will contact you and will take you through the process. And
Okay.
of course, you can follow us on Instagram, because we are soon releasing out some technical internships and more
Yes.
opportunities that we have got from couple NASA projects. So yeah, we'll be releasing it over Instagram and LinkedIn.
I guess that will be a wonderful opportunity for everyone who is like into these tech stuffs, including me.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay. So, Akshat, can you please share that email ID that you just told about in the chat box?
Yeah, it is
Yes.
info@nssmumbai.com.
Okay.
You can just type it on the YouTube chat as well. So
Yes, definitely. I have done that. So, I guess it's right. Info at the rate nssmumbai.com.
yeah, perfect.
Okay. So, we have another question for you that is like, okay. So, how did you get what motivated you? You have already told us, but actually, see, most of the people are not able to pursue what their passion is exactly. So basically, you must have got a huge support from your parents, from your teachers, or from your professors. How do you manage all your studies while like working on these stuffs, your startup, your company, and this training?
Of course, I would say it is something really critical to do, but then, this was a path that I had chosen to go ahead with. So I have to just
Okay.
try to manage every single thing, the assignments, practicals, the normal things everyone has to do. And then comes the companies and the space societies or my research projects that go on. Like recently, my seven of my research papers have got selected in world's
Yeah.
biggest space federation for a conference. So I got to do that, and it's a lot to do. But then I would say it is like once you get addicted to working, you just don't stop, and that's what happened with me. I got my first break, and when I started working, I started liking my work, which is the reason I never feel like stopping.
Definitely, if you like your work, that becomes your passion, and if it's your passion, you're never going to stop.
Exactly. It's been like 18 hours a day that I work on a daily basis, and it's been almost a day or two I haven't slept because of a couple of meetings. So you just need to manage your schedule according to your leisure and your work. So if you're able to manage these two things, then you're good to go.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah, thanks for answering this. And yeah, would you like to tell like how one can get into Indian Space Research Organization while from any degree? Like obviously they, if we talk about the technical aspect, so if anyone wants to go into ISRO, what they have to do, or like what technicalities and what are the skills they need actually to get into a particular field?
So, the one way you go through is the gate examinations that we all know. Now, if you're saying
Yeah.
something like, you have your master's degree from India and you believe that you've got some projects. So, what ISRO has started to do is they have put out these proposal opportunities out recently. So, if you have some project that you wish you to want to do with ISRO, then you can just
Yes.
go onto their site and there are these proposal opportunities that they have put out wherein you can apply. If your
Yeah.
proposal gets accepted, they practically, allow you to come in and work with them for the same. Other than that, you can always mail them and just send your profile, and that thing actually works. Like a couple of people I know have mailed their profiles and their ideas and vision mission to ISRO, and they got certain good responses from them.
Okay, so one has to definitely apply and has to score good in GATE exam, right?
Yeah. Not, that's one of the way to get into ISRO. If you
Okay.
go through it, you have a very smooth part. But of course, these are competitive examinations, and I would
Yeah.
say these examinations are not the ones that are so unbiased according to what knowledge you have and what the questions
Yes.
are. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
quoting anything here, but then this is what my
Yes.
personal opinion is. So yeah,
Okay.
this is one of the way to get into ISRO.
Wonderful. Thank you for this. And we have yet another question again. So can you guide us something about internship? Like how can we stay connected with practical space jobs?
Okay, so basically, if you want to stay connected, I would say there are certain conferences that are conducted every year. Like X is one of them, then International Astronomical Congress is one of them. So if you
Yeah.
are able to put down your abstracts or research abstracts into such conferences, and if they get selected, then you can practically go to countries like Dubai, America, presenting your research paper, publishing them, and while you're doing this, you make certain connections. That is something much more valuable here. Talking about internships, you can always follow
Yes.
the Instagram page for National Space Society, and pretty soon in a
Yes.
week's time, they're going to post a certain amount of internships for everyone. So you won't need to worry.
Okay. So that was a particular smooth part, and I guess when this internship will be released, there will be a lot of applications.
Yeah, and one more thing, I see a lot of people asking questions for ISRO internships. Oh, yeah, that was the next
Yes.
question you're taking about. So, anyone
Yeah.
who has questions about internships or something like that, just put that thing over my Instagram. And as Apurva knows it already, that I reply to all the Instagram messages. So, I'll
Yes.
be able to, guide you guys properly with your concerns for internship. So just message me at Cosmo Akshat on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone can message him on the Instagram, and I have already shared the Instagram handle of Akshat. So we will do that again later on. So Akshat, like right today, since I'm following you on Instagram, I saw a status. So that was about something that history in making, and we are like NASA is planning with Axiom Space to enable the first private astronaut mission to the space station. So
Yeah.
what can you give a brief over that?
So basically, NASA recently collaborated with Axiom Space, and Axiom Space is someone who has started developing this private space stations for private astronauts, and they've started developing their first module as well. So that's something really impressive that someone is doing. So that's the reason it was posted up by a couple of people that private astronauts like Cosmo Akshat are going to go with Axiom Space. So it was just something everyone is looking ahead to, and practically so am I looking ahead to it because privatization of space is going to enable a lot of opportunities and is going to provide people with a lot of new skill sets to be developed.
Yes, definitely. And since we know in India itself, there are a lot of projects that are going on from the private organizations to help ISRO.
Yeah.
I guess in the Gaganyaan project, ISRO is collaborating with some private organizations. Is it like that?
I am not sure I'd be the right person to answer that. Like I have
Okay.
heard the same things, but if I quote something, then it might go wrong.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
That's pretty nice of you because you are just telling what you
I just
actually.
don't want to. Yeah, I just don't want to spread wrong information.
Okay, sure. So, anyone having any other question, please put that into the chat box. Till then, I have one question that is quite general for each and everyone here. So, Akshat, that you are also the president of a space society, Mumbai. What are your what this actually space society do? Do you train students or do you take sessions, workshops?
Yeah, we are into taking these webinars from NASA, people from NASA, people from different space agencies and everything. And later on, we have been putting out certain magazines that are like more of an informative kind of magazines over asteroids or over some other missions. And in between, we take a certain workshops. Those are on research paper writings or how to make a rocket for yourself and stuff like that. Like we
Yes.
had a rocket workshop wherein in the lockdown itself, wherein we had distributed the
Yes.
rocket modules to everyone and everyone launched their rockets from their home. So, these are a
Wow.
couple of space things that we've been doing. Yeah, it's fun. And of course,
That's
we have
great.
got a mentor as Dr. Ravi Margasahayam. Our mentor is the one who launched Kalpana Chawla and 700 other astronauts, and also was the highest, had the biggest hand in building up the International Space Station. He launched around 500 payloads to International Space
Yeah.
Station, including some of
Wow.
the satellite modules and everything. So, yeah, as we have him as a mentor,
Yes.
we have got a couple of opportunities rolling out, which we pass on to the students.
Wow, this is amazing. And I remember that you got some honor from the same person.
Yeah, like basically it was a combined award. One was he gave me a pen that was during the anniversary of the Atlas missions. Those were like a couple of pens that were produced worldwide, and I was awarded with one of them. And the other one was the astronaut pin. So if you guys, sorry, the NASA golden pin. So if you guys can see this pin,
Yes.
so this was awarded to me by astronaut Robert Cabana, the director for
Okay.
Kennedy Space Center,
Oh,
stating me as the official member as NASA. As I'm an Indian, people have this question that how am I into NASA and everything. So that's why
yes.
I was given this award. So he stated that now I'm this official member of NASA when I got this Kennedy
Okay.
Space Center thing.
Wow, this is amazing because there are very less candidates that are going into NASA right from India, and you are one of them at a really young age.
Yeah, and I would say, moreover, having your Indian flag on, your uniform while you're working for them is something
Yeah.
that's not very common that I get to see. Like Still, I was going to Kennedy Space Center, and the security staff there was an Indian, and he just stopped me. He was like, "Are you from
Yes.
India?" Seeing this, flag patch on his uniform. I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm from India too, and we're so good to see that Indian flag is on the American soil as well." So, indeed, it was a heart
Yeah.
touching moment, I would say.
Definitely, I can memorize. Like I can really feel that moment when you see an Indian with you on some foreign soil, and that too as such a prestigious organization. That's something
Yeah,
that one should give a hats off.
so much.
Yeah. So we have an interesting question, and I would say that like you are also wearing spectacles. So does spectacle matters in astronaut career?
Not actually. You can have spectacles, and unless you are having 20/20 vision. If you have a 20/20 vision, then you're fine with spectacles. If you don't have 20/20, then that's a problem. So you might have to go under the LASIK surgery and everything. Then you'll be good to go with it. But that's not a big problem. That is a problem that can be cured.
Okay. So what is this 2020 like
So
eyesight?
basically, it's the eyesight vision that they measure by 20/20.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
like you sit and while my DGC examinations, I was made to sit and they ask you to distinguish between certain colors without your specs. And if you're able to do
Yes.
that, then yeah,
Yeah.
that was all I could experience by that examination. So yeah,
Okay, so you must have gone through some physical tests, right?
yeah.
So what, like, would you like to throw some light over them? What kind of physical test you have to go?
Um, Physical test, I would say, firstly, there were all these medical tests that I went through for DGCA. Other than that, I had
Yes.
directly taken up my scuba. I was licensed from PADI, and I had my
Yeah.
skydiver's license, and all of these
Yes.
licenses were more than enough. So yeah, these were the physical trainings, and added to it, I'm the international karate gold medalist. So I
Oh,
was physically fit. Of course, I'm an athlete as well, table tennis player, and I've been into sports from the very beginning. So yeah, I never faced a problem actually.
so what's left that you haven't tried yet? Because I feel like you have tried most of the things. Yeah.
Practically speaking, I don't know. There are things that you don't know and you don't know. This is a statement that
Yeah.
I heard when I was going to a lecture for Landmark. So there's this organization called
Yes.
Landmark, which teach you
Okay.
certain life skills and everything that you don't know and you don't know. So let's see. There might be something that might come ahead, and I might not have done it.
Okay.
Yeah, of
So
course,
that
I've
was
not been
about the.
into space.
Yeah, definitely. I feel that you will be going into space sometime ahead.
Yeah.
So you might have given some written test. Is it like that?
Not actually. For getting into any of the project, there are no tests. As I told you, research paper is the basic and the most important
Oh,
thing that you require. And if, anyone who has questions or how to write research papers and everything, again, you can text me on my Instagram. But yeah,
yeah.
so once you get your research paper selected, you basically prove them that you're really good at that particular industry or that particular area of interest. So what happens
Yes.
is you start getting projects, you start getting opportunities alongside, and as soon as you start networking with a couple of people, they just
Yeah.
see your profile. They won't see that which webinars you have attended or which e-courses you have taken, the certificate. What they would see is, do you have some experience? If no,
Yeah.
then what are the research papers have you published? Have you published any papers? Have you patented some of ideas? Whenever I open my LinkedIn, I see that people are
Yeah.
posting these certificates of webinars and Coursera or some courses like this. And
Yeah.
the only thing that I get to hear from the professionals that I've been working into the industry that Akshat, this doesn't really matter how many webinars they're going through. What they
Yes.
gained and what they implemented is all that matters. So implementation part, I would say research paper is the most important thing.
Definitely, Akshat. And I would like to quote that point. On LinkedIn, people are posting about their certificates and all. So that's good. That's fine. But like you say, in engineering also, or in any other field, like when you are in development field or technical field, your experience matters. Like if you have worked on some real world project, and if you have worked with some particular company or maybe some organization, to work on solving a problem that is faced by masses. So I guess this is a point that can apply in a lot of fields.
Yeah. Um, by the way, there's one more question that learning Russian is compulsory for astronauts,
Yeah.
as far as I know. So yeah, of course, I know a bit of Russian. I'm still learning, but yeah, of course, I can
Okay.
read what is written. So basically, she has just
Okay.
written, "Do I know Russian or not?" So yeah,
Well, this is nice. What other languages do you know?
I've been learning French. I am into Russian. I have been into learning of
Yes.
Mandarin, and I know Thai. So yeah, that's all. But I'm just kind of losing grip over the language. I need to refresh a bit.
Oh, okay. That's wonderful. Yeah. So, is there like if there are any more questions? Okay. So, okay. A few school children are also watching this. Wow, amazing. Can you please tell a few things that they can do in order to reach where you are? Wow.
um, okay. Vatsala, ma'am. I don't know. Yeah, Vatsala, ma'am. Right? That was the correct name. Yeah.
Yes,
So
it is.
I would say that school children, they can be guided to explore. They can be guided to be curious, because what I've been noticing recently is they are put under these restrictions or in a cage of syllabus that they need to follow, which is the reason the levels of curiosity or the exploring capacity kind of decreases. So I would say,
Yes.
all the students who are watching this, explore yourself, be curious to know things, that how things happen, how a car works, how does an aeroplane fly, how does an rocket launch. The more, I've been a very curious person, and I always say that be curious, and that's going to take you to the path you decide. So yeah, explore yourself, use the current technology. Whatever I learned till date, I never went to classes or anything. I learned everything
Okay.
via YouTube. I was curious enough that what is about to swim, I used to just YouTube it and I used to learn it down. So that's what I can guess you guys to do. Be curious and you'll find your path to success.
Oh, that was a wonderful piece of information, and I'm glad that students are also watching this, like some school children. So this is amazing. So, like it has been around more than 50 minutes. So I guess we are near to the end of this session. If anyone has any question, please do ask in the chat box. We can still answer a few questions.
Surely.
Yeah.
That's great. I guess someone told Ravi.
Yeah.
She knows
Okay.
Russian too. That's nice. You keep on learning different languages, because becoming multilingual is something that is going to be required in the future. So that's really great.
Yes, and I had studied in some research that the more languages you know, that shows that you have a higher IQ level than others, right?
Yeah, indeed. I feel the same, because Russian, it gets really tricky at times. Then German, I would say, is even more tricky, because it has the same English words with different meanings. Like,
Yes.
as far as I know, I guess war in German means boss in English.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so it gets pretty crazy to learn these languages. Anyways, I feel that everyone's done with the questions, because I don't see any questions coming up.
Yeah. So I feel that yeah, everyone has got their answers, and thank you, Akshay. Thanks a lot for being a part of this event. And I must say, whatever you have shared, whatever you have told us, is something that everyone is going to take away as a uh, like wonderful piece of information with them, and will help them. In fact, it will help me too.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It was really, I felt
Yes.
really great to be here and answer all the questions.
Definitely, that was a great time having you here. So, as we reach to the end, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Akshat for joining once again. Take care, and yeah, please stay safe, stay healthy, because this is something that is really necessary at this point of time.
indeed, indeed. Same to you.
Yeah. Okay then. Bye bye, everyone.